Okay, let's go over our map again. Today we'll start with our rivers. So we have right here Colorado River, the South Platte River, the Rio Grande River, and the Arkansas River. Let's say our ranges are mountain ranges. We have the Front Range. It goes up and down along I-25. We have the San Juan Mountain Range over here by Durango. We have the Sangre de Cristo Mountain Range. By the way, if you did the sand dunes that you had, I think Jason did, he had a picture of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, part of that mountain range behind the sand dunes. It's a really sharp looking picture. You've got these sand mounds and then you've got the mountains. It's beautiful. And then the Saywatch Mountain Range right up here. Okay, our national parks, we have Rocky Mountain National Park, we have Dinosaur National Monument, Black Canyon of the Gunnison, we have Mesa Verde, and we have Great Sand Dunes National Park. Okay, all right. We were talking the other day yesterday about Greeley. What was the name that we know it as Greeley today? What was its first name? Do you remember? Can you say it? Union Colony. It was known as Union Colony. Who was responsible for the founding of Union Colony? Can you name someone? There's two people that we talked about. We talked about one of them could have been Nathan Meeker. The other one, Horace Greeley. Okay? Do you remember how to spell Greeley? It has 3 E's. I said I was going to show this to you yesterday, but we never got to it quite yet. We didn't have enough time. I didn't want our video to be too long. So hopefully I'll show this at the end of today's video. Okay? Time kind of caught me off guard. All right, well, we were just talking about how Greeley had sent Meeker to go, check out this area along the South Platte River. So he comes back and he's like, that's a great place to build a colony. So Meeker began organizing and he placed an advertisement in the Tribune. Remember, he worked for the Tribune. He placed an advertisement in the Tribune calling for volunteers to join him. Well, Meeker's advertisement specifically was seeking volunteers that had high moral standards. So if you wanted to obey laws and if you didn't want to rob banks and if you were using your money the right way and just different things, high moral standards, if that was your thing, then they wanted you. So they had to have high moral standards. They had to be literate. Do you know what it means to be literate? They needed to know how to read. Okay, so they needed to be literate. And they had to agree with the no drinking laws. We're going to talk a little bit about that. That Greeley, for a very long time, was known as a dry city. A dry city means that there was no liquor sold or allowed to be in that area. And so some people that started to come out later on, they didn't really agree with not drinking. And so they kind of moved out into the outskirts of around Union Colony. But those were the things that Meeker was looking for. He said, hey, everyone, and he put it into the newspaper. He says, I am looking for a certain group of people that would like to go out and start a settlement out west. It's going to be Union Colony. I've already checked it out. It's a beautiful area. And these are the requirements. So let's go over the requirements again. The people had to have high moral standards. They had to be literate. That means they had to know how to read. And they had to agree with the no drinking laws. Now, along with those 3 things, they had to pay a membership fee. So the cost of membership for those accepted to the colony was $155 in that day. Well, there were over 3,000 people that responded. And Meeker had a pretty big job. He had to go through all of those he had to go through all of those inquiries, those, thinking of a different word because you don't know inquiries. He had to go through all of those papers or the sign-up list and say, I have to narrow this down a little bit. And so he selected 700 applicants. So people that applied are called an applicant. And so he selected 700 people to be prospective colonists. Now we know what a colonist is. And he was gonna, okay, I think out of these 3,000, I have chosen 700 people that I think probably have high moral standards. They're literate, they can read, and they aren't going to be, they're okay with our drinking, the no drinking laws. Now, later, some people got some cold feet. 90 people backed out of that. Okay. Well, with the collected membership fees, because he had to collect the $155 membership fee, Meeker journeyed west in the spring of 1870. They purchased a tract of land in Weld County near the Cache-la-Poudre and South Platte rivers and founded the settlement of Union Colony. Okay. The city of Greeley itself was born in 1886. Union Colony, the one that we're talking about in our page 21, talking about an early settlement, right here asks a question. It says, what is the name of this important place? This important place is Union Colony, known today as Greeley. Okay, so what is the name of this important place? This important place is Union Colony, known today as Greeley. Okay, so if you want to pause right now, you could answer this question. Okay, let me hold up that as well, how to spell Greeley and Union Colony. Okay, but you could always do this at the end. I'm just, you could always rewind as well. Let's see. I think that's all I'm going to talk to you about with Greeley. When did it become important to your state? We said in 1870. Okay. Who helped to make it an important place? These two guys. You remember his name? Nathan Meeker and Horace Greeley. Okay, and this is how you spell their names. And why is this place important to your state? Okay, remember when they came out, we were still a territory. And so it was important that people came out from the east. Remember, it was getting overcrowded. They wanted people to go out and settle in the west. So it was pretty important that these people found an area to put up churches and schools and different things like that. And so that's what they did. So that what made it very important. Because remember talking about in history that a place couldn't become a state unless it had a certain amount of people. And so when we're trying to get these, Horace Greeley is trying to get these people to go out there. He's funding it. Remember, he was giving the money. So he's funding the efforts of these people to go out and settle in the area. And hey, my grandma's out there. Hey, my brother's out there. I'm going to go out there too. And so more and more and more people started to trickle in. Oh, I heard that colony's really, now they have a school. Oh, I heard it's a beautiful area. Oh, I visited and I came back. I think I'm going to head out there. And so it's important to your state for those reasons because it allowed the West to start being settled. Okay? All right. By the way, Greeley stayed a dry city for a very long time. A dry city, you remember we talked about, means that they didn't drink in the town and they didn't sell liquor in the town. That means they didn't have a saloon or a bar in the town. It stayed a dry city until 1972. That's a pretty long time. That was shortly before I was born. So it stayed a dry city until 1972. Do you have that date down? Okay. Important industries that they had, sugar beets. They had sugar beet farms. That's where you take those big beets. Some of them can be very big that you would grow out in a field using your irrigation ditches to keep them watered. But as you were taking up those sugar beets would be thrown into a wagon or thrown into a truck later on, and that's where we get our sugar. Have you baked anything recently with sugar? Okay, our sugar comes from a couple of different places, and sugar beets is one of those places. That your sugar that you'll find at the grocery store comes from sugar beet. Okay, we also had meat packing. We had a lot of different meat packing. As a matter of fact, they were selling hides of buffalo for a while, and the buffalo hides, they were just getting such a huge amount that they started storing these buffalo hides in the jail. Apparently nobody was in the jail, because remember, these people started out with high moral standards. Remember that? And so they were like, let's put the buffalo hide, there's room in the jail. And so they started storing their buffalo hides there. I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, so you're going to do page 21 today. And then I want you to take a picture of your finished product. Now it says glue a picture of the place here, so you can look online for a picture of Union Colony, so it can be an older picture, or you can look for a picture of Greeley as it looks today, okay? But just make sure that you're talking up here, especially because maybe somebody's not going to recognize that older picture. You're going to tell them right down here that it's called Union Colony, also known as Greeley. All right, let me put up these words that I said I would put up so that you can finish page 21 today. Okay, there you go. All right, have a great afternoon.